Hi everyone, this is Colin from Winnipeg Financial Planning, and today I have a very special guest, Elaine Froese. Thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here, Colin.
Now I'm very excited to have you because you've been called Canada's Farm Whisperer. So why is that? Let's start there.
So many years ago, a young journalist named Andrew Douglas was doing an FCC article, and after he interviewed me about what I do, which is very unique with farm families, he said, "No, Elaine, I want to do another article for you in Faith Today magazine," and they chose the title Canada's Farm Whisperer. So it started way back in about 2013 when that article came out. So he just saw the work I was doing with farm families is very unique, and that's the name they gave me.
I love it. It's a great name. Now, for today's conversation, I'm interested in finding out how farmers can somewhat get started. So, what advice would you give farmers who have trouble just taking that first step and starting these farm succession, farm transition discussions?
So I'm a professional speaker too, Colin. And when I do farm seminars, I used to use these little turning point clickers to get the audience to tell me their deepest things without knowing where that question was coming from. And so when I asked that question, what are your barriers? Why are you not doing this work? Why are you not getting a plan in place? And very often the top three reasons were we're too busy to plan. So they're not making it a priority. And now, of course, during the great pause, everything else has been stripped away, and it seems like it would be a good time to do some planning. Second reason might be anxiety and overwhelm. So they just don't know where to start. And then the third reason would be fear of fighting and conflict. So there's a procrastination, and I always have this saying, procrastination and conflict avoidance is killing agriculture. And I think what I do as a farm family coach, Colin, is I very often give people a list of binder tabs so that they can chunk the process down, so that there's, like, you're a financial planner and a wealth manager. So you're a really big, important piece of the pie. I see myself as a good starting point because I'm the communication and conflict resolution person. And so if I can get everybody in the farm family, farm and non-farm, to the table just to start finding out what's in people's heads, get it out on the table, and start dealing with what I call the tough issues, the undiscussables, with this bull in the middle of the room. This is my talking stick that I use at meetings. Then I can start getting some traction. So the question really is why are people not doing this? No, the question is what's stopping them. And I think the answer is helping them see that you have a map, you have a journey that you're going to take them down, and they don't need to be overwhelmed. They just need to keep taking the next step.
Okay. Yeah. So you mentioned too busy, anxiety, and fear. Now, in your opinion, like those are rational reasons, right? Like,
you want to talk about the irrational ones?
Yeah.
Okay. So the irrational ones are what I do as a living, which is the emotional factors, because decisions driven by emotion are difficult to navigate, right? Because they're not always rational. And money has a profound essence or impact on people and how they think about money, what money means to them, fairness. And you and I have talked a long time and know about my Finding Fairness in Farm Transition work. There's a lot of stuff going on up here. And so we just have to keep gently dealing with, okay, and what else? And what else? Help me understand.
Right. So what would be the first and simplest step a farmer can take to at least get started? What is it? Is it giving you a phone call? Is it downloading something?
No, the first step every farmer and farm spouse and farm successor and non-farm kid needs to do is have a talk with themselves. Okay. They need to figure out what is it that they want. What do they want personally? I have my little rings here that I use. So what do they want for their family circle? And what do they want for the farm business? Those are two separate systems, but they get all mushed together. So what do you want your family to look like? And what you want your lifestyle to look like personally? And what do you want your farm business to look like? And if they figure that out in their own minds first, then you bring the founders together, the parents typically, or the parents and their brothers or sisters, whoever they're farming with. And then they all have to put their vision on the table. And then you can start dealing with Gen 2. But Gen 1 needs to be really clear. Because Colin, how many times have you as a financial planner looked at a couple across the table from you and say, what do you want? And they look at each other and they don't know.
Right.
And they're wasting your time because they haven't figured it out yet for themselves.
Yeah.
So that's the first conversation. And then of course, then the other thing is you need to know who's going to drive this process. And in our family, it's me. You know, have we got our taxes up to date in terms of our stride? And I'm in my third succession plan because I've done one with my in-laws in 92. I did one with my parents who farm at Dugald, where my brother farms still. Did that one in 1998. And now I'm on a journey with my 32-year-old son and daughter-in-law who've already bought one of our companies. And we're in a succession joint venture plan with them. And so there's the other thing. Who has the stamina to keep people moving on this journey and keep meeting with the appropriate advisors?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because from what I've seen from experience, when I'm talking to farmers, a lot of them have started. They've taken that first step, but then things fizzle out. Like, why does that keep happening?
Okay, so I call those side swipes or bumps in the journey of life. Okay, so there's accidents. It just happened again. A CAFA colleague of ours, her father just passed of a heart attack on Saturday, and he was the farming, founder. And so things happen, and then you have to readjust, right? But things tend to get, like, I think Einstein said, momentum creates momentum, right? So as you keep moving, and you can't steer a ship that's not moving. And so sometimes you do have to take a break. Like we had to take a 2-year break for my son's partnership to morph into a corporation, to morph into a joint venture. So sometimes for planning, just for tax strategies and the way accounting works and whatnot, you do have to have time. But in the meantime, you can still keep having family business meetings and communication, because the families that communicate on a regular basis, Colin, the research from Dr. Cole's grad student at Virginia Tech way back in the late 90s showed that the families that are always meeting and talking are 21% more profitable because they're focusing and then they execute. So when you hit a bump, deal with the bump and then get back on the road again. And sometimes you hit a bump because your advisors are not very good. They're not serving you well. They don't answer your emails. They don't answer your calls. And I just dealt with a family yesterday in Ontario. And I said, what's going on? And they said, Elaine, they're not getting back to us. I said, did you give them a deadline? Did you say by when? 2 very powerful words for this journey, Colin. By when can I expect a phone call or an email or your proposal back from you, Colin? I'd like it by March, whatever. I'd like it by April 1st, whatever. But just give people deadlines so there's a very clear expectation of the give and take between you and your advisors.
That's great, and lots to unpack there. I love the line that you said, sometimes it's okay to take a break. I love that. That's we don't need to figure it all out right away. Things will happen, because often farmers aren't sure if their kids are going to want to farm, and then stop and never get going. And I love that you said, like, it's good to keep talking even though there's still some gray out there.
Well, and in our case, we gave our son a deadline as well with that, because he was going to be a WestJet pilot. And then he went to ag school at the Faculty of Agriculture. He took his diploma, and he came home and he said, you know what, Dad, I want to buy this quarter section of land that my landlord's broken the lease on. So he did that when he was 21, but we gave him till he was 27 to decide. And he decided maybe 2 or 3 years earlier in that. And then he got married and started a family, and life, rolls on really quickly. But when I say to people, are you giving an open-ended invitation for this person to come back? Or are you going to say, by the time you're this age, you have to make a decision? And I think that's wiser, because had we known, and of course, looking backwards is perfect vision, right? Had we known that Ian was coming back, we would have been more assertive about buying some more farmland. Because there's another problem, or another bump, is that people come to you as a financial planner and they go, oh my goodness, Colin, we don't have enough money on our personal wealth side to give us an income stream that's not going to impact the farm. What are we going to do? And you're going to say, well, some of your income is going to have to come from the farm. And that's a really hard news flash. to families who always had it in their head that they would just roll things over, or that there would be some exchange of value, but not necessarily 100%, right? And so the other thing, as a home economist, I'm totally in your camp, because every family I coach, I send to a financial planner, because they say, Elaine, we don't want to run out of money when we're 85, like my father is doing right now. And I said, well, then have you seen a financial planner? And I just don't get it, Colin, that people don't even know. Like yesterday, I met another farm couple who have no tax-free savings accounts. I said, are you kidding me? You're 60 years old and you've never used that option? And I get a little Irish when I talk about this, because I am totally aligned with what you think is important. And I'm just here trying to have really robust conversations.
Maybe I'll defend them a little bit. Did they have any savings whatsoever?
Very little.
Okay, well, yeah.
Yeah. And again, we all have themes in our weeks, right? And I have very heavy coaching days on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So the theme of this week was not a lot of personal wealth bubble. And I have no idea what the percentage in farm families, but if we have 195,000 farmers or farm units in Canada, I would hazard a guess that 60 to 70% of those units don't have a really healthy personal wealth bubble.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
It makes it hard when you're trying to do planning.
Yeah, it decreases your flexibility in
Right.
what your options are, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and I could talk with you for hours.
That's okay.
I've always loved listening to you. Your presentations are always great. So to wrap up today, how can people find you if they want more information?
So best thing is just to type in farmfamilycoach.com and it will go to my website. I have all kinds of resources. I've written 5 books, but these are the 2 popular ones: Farming's In-Law Factor and Building Your Farm Legacy. And I would just really encourage your viewers to go to my website, farmfamilycoach.com, and sign up for my blog, because then you'll get encouragement every couple of weeks. And you'll also see, I'm doing what's called now virtual kitchen tables too, Colin, that are paid seminars online, of course, because that's our world right now. And they can find out more of those at Arlan Academy, ARLAN Academy.com. And I just want to tell families who are watching this video, if you email me or just go to my contact page, I'd be more than happy to send you that list of binder tabs to help you unpack that overwhelm, get a planning binder, and just get started. Talk does not cook rice. we got to do the work, right? And we also, the other thing just in closing is, conflict is not a bad thing. Like, this bull won't hurt you, but you have to attack the bull. You have to attack the issue, not the people in the room. And I'm certainly have assessments to help people out with conflict dynamic profiles too. So thanks so much for this time. It's great talking to you always.
Okay, well, thank you, Elaine. Love it. I'll put those website links at the bottom of this video, so you guys can just, after editing this video, click on those links and you'll be directed to Elaine's website. So again, thank you, Elaine.
Great.